Hello everyone and welcome back to another video by me, Nay. I wanted to start by saying that I have included this video of me cleaning the kitchen partly to demonstrate that even though mine was not particularly messy, like it's still a bit messy, but yeah, it still took me a good chunk of time to get through, and even then the counters are not as clear as I had wanted when I started. For reference for the rest of the video, I've sped everything up by 800%, and the kitchen section is a minute 50. The section where I go through my kids' toys is 5 minutes long. That means that nearly a third of my time is spent cleaning and decluttering is just in the kitchen alone. A job that needs to be done, but people only notice when it's not. So if all you have time for today is to unpack the dishwasher and put the clean dishes away, like, I'm proud of you. You've done a very good job. It's the invisible jobs that we have that take up the most amount of time, and then everything else just doesn't look like it's been done, but it has. Like, you're doing well, trust me. It's been about 4 days since I actually recorded this video, and a lot of the stuff that was on the counter, as you can see at the end of the video, is still there. And I am disappointed in that because I did have time to go through the kitchen again, but I just found other things to do. Like, I've been really, really busy. And yeah, just like washing bottles, that takes so long, and sorting everything out, making sure everything's shiny, everything's disinfected. Like, it just takes so much time, and it's just lots of little things, constant little things that's got to be done, and even things that have been sitting there for ages. So like this toaster, that's actually been sitting there for probably nearly 2 weeks actually. It wasn't gross or anything like that. It had been very briefly wiped down the last time we used it, but like, it hadn't been soapy watered, like it hadn't actually been cleaned. There was still some oil residue, a little bit of cheese was stuck in the hinge, and that's really gross. But it's just the sort of thing that you're like, oh, I'll get to that later, and you push it to the side, and then you don't. It just sits there, getting kind of gross. But yeah, I'm really glad I got to it in this video. So I wanted to do a proper clean, a deep clean, and I didn't get to everything as I've said before, but it's so much better. I feel so much better even now. Like, it's some of the things that had been sitting there I now put away. So, got to take the small victories. Another thing that takes forever is that our kitchen is very central in our house, so it just becomes a dumping ground, like a collection place for everything. So, stray toys just end up on the kitchen counter. That tape measure that needs to go rest of the laundry. There's tins of paint there that you can see in the video, and it's just, there's so much. But yeah, all of this was gearing up to this part where I really wanted to declutter the toys for my kids. And it wasn't just the other toys, but their soft toys in particular, because I, as a child, loved soft toys. I couldn't get enough of them. And so a lot of them were hand-me-downs. I've actually decluttered so much of it. Like, this is good. And even dress ups, I wanted them to have dress up boxes and stuff, but they don't really play with it. And the same as the soft toys. Neither of my kids really are soft toy kids. Like, one of them will cuddle a certain soft toy at night if they're in the right mood for it. But in general, they just don't. And so I decided that I was keeping those toys for me. It wasn't for my kids, it was for me because I found comfort in seeing them. But yeah, it was just taking up too much space for the kids. And I've actually decluttered, you've probably seen a few other videos. I haven't videoed everything I've done, like, obviously, but I've decluttered so many things of the kids, and they now play with the toys that are left. So what's left is intentional, so they can find things that they want. And it's really, really encouraging, to be honest, that the less toys that they've had, because they had so many, like, we've had so many hand-me-downs. My kids are the first grandkids on both sides, and so we've had an insane amount of hand-me-downs. And I would go through everything, keep only what I wanted to keep, and even that was just too much, right? So now I'm trying to be really good, trying to keep things I know that they'll play with, that aren't junky, that aren't taking up too much space, and just tidying things up so that way when the kids want something, they can actually find it. And yeah, as I said before, it's just really, really handy that well, not handy, it's just nice to see them playing with toys that they even forgot existed. Like, they play. They pick up a toy or a book. Oh my God, so many books that I've thrown out. And now the ones I've kept, they're keeping them because they like them. They're reading them. They're like, oh, I haven't seen this book in a while, and it's so encouraging. Honestly, highly recommend. And during this process as well, I was able to put things back into their groups where they belonged. So it wasn't just decluttering, it was also just tidying up in general. So again, so that it was easy for the kids to find what they wanted to find and just minimizing the mess, really. Things that they don't play with, things that were broken. There was a few bits of rubbish, different pamphlets from events that we'd been to that just obviously you don't really need, so those can go in recycling. Two large black garbage bins with things to take to the donation centre, and I did the next day. They left the house pretty immediately, which was awesome. They actually went into the bags went into the car first before I picked up the kids from the childcare centre because yeah, I didn't want them to see what I was throwing out. And yeah, as I said, it's been a few days, 4 days about since I recorded these videos, and they haven't asked for a single thing that I have decluttered, that I saw that they weren't playing with, or that was just taking up too much space. Like earlier you saw a giant chase toy from Paw Patrol. Huge. We have two of them, and that one has a weird face. I'm sorry, the weird face is weird. It needs to go. It was just not well made. It's been weirding me out for a while, and I'm glad to get rid of it. A huge motivation for going through the kids' toys was that I wanted to rearrange this play area because it's in the living space, which is the main space of the entire house. It's the biggest room, and so it's where we spend most of our time. And it's just so much visual clutter between the bookshelf there, the Kallax bookshelf, and the play space. It was too much. I was always getting overwhelmed and I couldn't figure out why. Like I've gone through these toys, I've gone through the books, everything in that room I have gone through so many times and it still stresses me out. I was able to rearrange the play space over the weekend, so that's what this part of the video is. It's just showing me working through the process of trying to figure out how I want the space to look and function and stuff. So where that cubby house is now, I was actually planning on hanging a gauze from the roof, installing a hook and stuff and hanging some gauze there to create like this little enclosed reading area that would also allow plenty of light because that cubby house blocks a surprising amount of light. So I was just trying to rearrange it because it's got this big hole at the back and there's windows behind the camera, there's windows behind me. So I figured that would lighten it up so it was more welcoming so the kids would actually play in there as opposed to using it as a place to argue because they do. They go in there and they goad each other on and it's, oh, you can't fit in here and oh, it's this whole thing. I would love to get rid of it, to be honest. And there's a lot of moving things around, as you can clearly see. I put things in a place and I stand there and stare at it for ages and then, move things back and it's a process, but I'm just trying to figure out how best the kids would use the space and to give them more of a semi-enclosed area where they can be, where they can play and hopefully not have so many toys, spill out into the seating area where we have the TV and the couch and whatnot. So this is sort of, in theory, their designated play space. So yeah, finally settled on this and this is it. This is the final result. And when they came home, the day after I did this, they squealed. They were so excited, jumping up and down. It was great. So thanks for joining me on this journey. And I appreciate you being here. And I hope that I was able to motivate you and to clean up your own spaces and whatnot. So have a great day.